Hello everyone and welcome to today's session. In order to have a smooth experience, it's recommended to exit all background applications and other inactive web tabs to avoid your internet bandwidth from overloading. We will start shortly as scheduled, so please stay tuned with us. Assalamu alaikum and welcome everyone. My name is Ahmed Suleiman and I'm your moderator for today's Sharia-compliant stock trading session. Before we start, I want to give you a few guidelines just to ensure that you have the best experience with us today. First, it's recommended to exit all background applications and other inactive web tabs to avoid your internet bandwidth from overloading. Second, please ensure that you minimize all distractions by keeping your phones on silent and closing all other applications. If you have a question, you can ask it in the Q&A section below and we'll be sure to answer these questions as soon as the presentation is over. Remember, at the end of this session, we'll hold a raffle draw where you get a chance to win one Apple Watch. Now, without further ado, let me introduce our keynote speakers from ADIB. Ms. Zaina Khalid Badran, who's the Head of Client Services and Business Development at ADIB Securities. We also have Mr. Hassan Hannouf. He is the Head of Industrial Sales at ADIB Securities as well. They will be speaking to us about Sharia-compliant investments, shares, and stock markets.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us and being here today. And welcome to ADIB Securities webinar, Sharia-compliant stock trading. In this webinar, you are going to learn about understanding stocks, stock markets, investment strategies, and Sharia-compliant shares universe, and much more. So, hope this webinar will be a little guide and a comprehensive guide that would help you to build a better financial future. Let's start by a famous quote by Warren Buffett, who is one of the most successful investors of all time and one of the most richest men, who said, "The best investment you can make is an investment in yourself. The more you learn, the more you'll earn." At the beginning, as you start being aware about your money and your financial concepts, you would be keen to know more about your financial future. It's wise always to be familiar with investment options and diversified investment options around you. But before you make an investment decision, please consider these areas of importance. At the beginning, please draw a personal financial roadmap. Sit down, think, and look at your entire financial situation, especially if you never made a financial plan before. The first step for financial investment to be successful is figuring out your goals and your risk tolerance. Risk tolerance, in brief, is your ability to endure psychologically the potential loss on your money, or it's the ability to adapt with the losses or risk that might be happening while you're doing an investment. The first step for financial investment as well is to seek a financial professional, to research, to read more, to go into forums, to read about the news, to seek the financial markets websites, and so on. After you do all that, please evaluate your comfort zone in taking on risk. As you are all aware, all investments involve some degree of risk. If you intend to purchase securities, such as Sharia-compliant stocks, it's important to understand before you go into such investments plan to know that there is a risk of losing some or all of your investment value. It's up to you to decide whether saving or investing is the better choice for you. And that's all depend on your financial future goals. But at a certain point, one goal or one investment is always better than the other. Saving is the act of putting away money for a future expense or need, but the risk accompanied with it will be always less. When you choose to save money, you always need to have the cash available and reachable when you look for it, and most of the time, very quickly. However, saving can be used for long-term goals as well, such as planning to buy a house, for educational point of view, for even a better investment in the future. But sure, at all times, while saving, you will have the money available for you. Unlike that, investing is similar to saving, except you're looking to achieve a higher return in exchange for taking on more risk. While investing, it's important always to invest wisely and in a rational manner. If you're looking to invest money, you should always plan to keep your fund in such investment for at least 3 to 5 years to get the reward that you are looking for. Investments could be very volatile and risky, as we told you earlier, and over short periods of time, and you can even lose money on them. But it's important that you only invest your money that you won't need for the short term, especially within a year or two. There are several types of investment, but today we are looking to concentrate more on Islamic investments. Islamic banking and finance industry underwent spectacular growth since its inception in 1975. Total global Islamic assets as of 2020 stood of around $3 trillion, and it's expected to surpass $3.7 trillion by 2024. We have a diversified and alternative investments Islamic options, such as real estate, Islamic private equity, Islamic mutual funds, sukuks, and equities such as stock trading. Let's just talk about Sharia-compliant stocks or stocks in general. What are stocks? You might hear from your neighbors, friends, family that they are trading in Sharia-compliant stocks or stocks in general. But let's define a stock. Actually, when you buy a stock in a corporation, you buy a certain number of shares, and each share represents a part of the corporation. That means you are now a part owner of that corporation. A company sells its stock to raise money, but it does not promise you to pay back. And here the risk comes. If the company makes a profit, it might share that with you by paying you a dividend. After the company just pay the dividends, it will be added to your portfolio that you have. That's one way of making money through stocks. The other way is by selling your stocks with a higher amount than you have bought for. Stocks could be traded in the stock markets. What are the stock markets? When people refer to stock market being up or down, up means green, down means red, they are in general referring to one of the major market indexes. A market index tracks the performance of a group of stocks. Actually, we have many types or groups of stocks such as technology, retail, properties, education, pharmaceuticals, oil and gas, and much more. Investors who plan to trade stocks might do an intensive research, read and read and read, and devote some time to watch the markets. After you have done your exercise and homework about reading about investment in general, then you have made up to invest in stock markets, which we look for Sharia-compliant stocks. You have to find more details about your investment strategy that you have planned to have. Investment strategies could be fundamental or technical, but please make sure before you go into any company or stock that you would like to invest in to go into more depth about the company's fundamental analysis. Fundamental analysis is a method of measuring a stock's value by earning related economic and financial situations and factors around us. For stocks, fundamental analysis uses revenues, earnings, future growth, and other data. To go more into such details, you could always seek such data from the company's financial statement. Other ways that investors go through, especially for short-term investment, is the technical analysis. It's to predict future price movements, providing traders with the information needed to make a profit relevant to that type of stock that you are looking to invest in. Technical analysis looks for price patterns, trends based on historical performance to identify signals based on market history and psychology and sentiment as well. Once you grasp such basic concepts, you will start to look on which stock or company you would like to invest in. I hope that I could go more into details, but for the sake of time, I had to make it short. Such a video will leave a good value for you. If not now, planning to invest now, but still, it will build a basic knowledge of investing and a mindset of investing. And for sure, you will have a very successful experience in the future. Now, I will leave the panel for my colleague Hassan, who would speak more into details about Sharia-compliant shares universe and from the technical side. Thank you.
Thank you, Rena. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Hassan Hanouf. Welcome once again to this webinar. I will continue by starting with some words of wisdom to inspire us. If you haven't been across the book, which is called Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I recommend you read it. It's a bestseller. The author is Robert Kiyosaki, a well-known author. His book has been talked about a lot in the investment universe. Just to give you an idea of very basic investment tools and what to do. So he says things like in his book, your future is created by what you do today, not tomorrow. So it's important to take a step forward if you want to plan your financial future, to start thinking about it from now and not any later. Now, another famous quote from a very important investor, which Zaina touched upon in the beginning, the Wizard of Omaha, Mr. Warren Buffett, he says, before you invest in something, invest in time and to understand it. So we hope with this webinar, we will help you to understand a bit better how to invest, especially in stocks. So I'll move on to just talk about asset classes that are available for you to actually trade or to invest in, but also to understand the risk versus return for each one. So there's a saying that says, no pain, no gain. So basically what it means, the more risk you take, the more return you expect. Now, if you put cash under your mattress, this is literally saying, putting money to sleep, basically, because you're just not invested in anything. You just want to be safe and you want to make sure that your money is very close to you. Now, it could be risky as well, because if your house burns down, then your money will be lost. But the less maybe return you will get on your money is to leave your money in savings accounts at a bank. Most of the time, especially right now, it doesn't even beat inflation. Inflation is set usually at 2% worldwide, and you don't get enough. You don't get more than maybe 1% or even less than that nowadays if you put your cash in a savings account within a bank. Now the next tool you could use, the next asset class, is money markets, and then you could see the curve on the screen going up, and then you see bonds, which is even a bit more risky, but less risky than real estate. Then you have blue chip equities, small cap equities, and then the riskiest will be private equity. So to focus more on stock trading, you are actually on the top tier of risk. So it's very important to understand once you want to get into stock trading what you're doing. So to move on to the next slide here, let's talk about, where is the stocks traded? Where do you find the stocks? They're actually traded on exchanges in every country or every big exchange in the world. I'll touch upon the ones that we actually deal in, which is the ADX, Abu Dhabi Exchange, DFM, Dubai Financial Markets, which is the UAE's two main exchanges. Then we also deal in Tadawul and KSA in Saudi Arabia. And we also deal in the two largest stock exchanges in the world, which is the New York Stock Exchange and NASDAQ in the US. Now, it's important to highlight the New York Stock Exchange is the largest in the world. As of January 2021, it accounted for almost $25 trillion of market cap. The second largest would be NASDAQ at 19 trillion. Now, the New York Stock Exchange is actually very, very large. It comprises 30% of the world market cap of all stocks worldwide. Just to give you a context of how big it is, if you combine all 5 largest stock exchanges in the world, the New York Exchange is the equivalent. So the 5 largest ones would be the New York Stock Exchange, the NASDAQ in the US, then you go to Shanghai Stock Exchange, Nikkei in Japan, and Hong Kong Stock Exchange. Those are the largest stock exchanges in the world. Now, you can see very clearly, now I'm going to dive into the Sharia compliance space. Out of the 65 constituents in the ADX, which means this 65 stocks, you have 23 that are Sharia compliant. For the DFM, out of the 64, you have 39. And Tadawul, you have 202 constituents, which means stocks. Again, you have 160 that are Sharia compliant. Combined for this New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ, we have 1,200 Sharia compliant stocks that are available for trading. But if you look at it, they have over 2,800 stocks for NYSE and 3,300 stocks available conventionally in NASDAQ. Now, how do we come about to actually screen for us to know what is Sharia compliant when it comes to stocks? There's 2 very important criteria that we look at. The first one is the qualitative one, and the second one is the quantitative criteria. So the qualitative would look, the most important thing is the activity of the business. So if this business engages in riba, which means interest, usually like conventional banks, for example, it is out. It's not gonna be part of the Sharia compliant space. Or if it engages in gharar, trading with uncertainty or risk, like insurance companies, maisir, which means like gambling, games of chance, permissible products manufacturers or service providers like pork, liquor, pornography, prostitution, or weaponry, those are not allowed to be traded within the Sharia compliance space. Completely not allowed. The second criteria we look at, which is a very important one as well, is the financial one, the quantitative one, which is financials. We look at the non-compliant income to total income. So if there is impermissible income that is exceeding 5%, again, it's a fail. It's not going to go through. And then we look also at interest income. So there is a buffer of 30%. If it exceeds 30% of your investments, the interest income component, then again, it's not gonna pass. It's gonna be failed. And we look also at the debt ratio. If it's over 30%, which is conventional debt, which is interest-bearing debt. If it's over 30%, again, it doesn't go through. It's a fail. And lastly, we look at the liquidity, which means the assets, physical assets that are owned by the company. If they are less than 30%, again, it doesn't pass. So this gives you a bit of an idea how we filter Sharia compliant stocks. for us to arrive to the 1,200 approximate shares, for example, for U.S. markets to be available for trading. Now, I want to touch upon, they say the bigger picture to make you understand a bit the markets. So in this slide, the slide that says it all, it's a picture is worth 1,000 words. Now we're looking at the composite, the S&P Composite 500 since the 1900, for over 100 years, basically, to see the behavior. You could see that throughout time. I mean, we had the gray zones that you see on the graph. This is the recession periods or the crisis periods. The latest one we had is in 2008, which you could see clearly on the graph. The financial crisis of 2008. Then we had the dot-com one before that in around 2000. And then we had so many crises in the past, like the World War II and all this. It's all very well highlighted on the graph. But you can see that the markets pick up right after. There's always a trend of it goes down, but then it goes back up. But throughout history, the market has always grown. I mean, we have demographical changes worldwide. We have businesses that are started, let's say, in the US, they become global. So they have more sales, more cash flow. So the S&P 500 actually is composed of around 500 of the biggest companies in the US. This is the tracker. It tracks 500 of the biggest companies. And it's a good gauge of understanding, where the economy is going, where businesses are going. And we always look at it, for us, for the financial health of stocks, of equities, of the markets. And you're always going to see it on the news, always talked about, for you to understand, okay, if the market is down today or tomorrow. And then I'll touch upon the other indices that are very important in the next slide. So, yeah, we have the NASDAQ 100. So this is basically the index that is a bit more lenient towards technology stocks, information technology stocks, and non-financials. So again, you could see very clearly, you could see on the graph the past 20 years, technology has boomed, has done really, really well. We are all beneficiaries of what we're doing on technology, for example, on this webinar, which maybe we didn't do 20 years ago, and many other things because of technology. So you could see the NASDAQ has outperformed the other indices, which is very understandable. But again, this is to show you, I mean, the behavior of the markets. Again, in 2008, you could see that there's a dip. We've had a financial crisis. Most lately, we had the Corona outbreak in March 2020. Again, you see a little, you see actually a very sharp dip, and then the markets picked up heavily. But I want to highlight the performance of the NASDAQ, of the S&P 500, and the Dow Jones. As you see, if you've invested, let's say 20 years ago, without doing anything, you could certainly, get results. I mean, you could see 200% around for the S&P and the Dow Jones. On the NASDAQ, you could see almost over 500%. So the idea is that you want to invest, like we touched upon before with Zena, the time horizon of your investment is important. Also the timing, when you get in, when you get out. If you get in at the bottom, then you get out at some point at the top, this is good. But if you get in at the top and you get in, you get out a short period after at a bottom, then obviously you're not going to make money. So it's important to understand when to get in and when to get out. Now, just to give you an idea, this is not to to tell you which stocks to buy or which ones not to buy, but to show you what's happened in the past year for returns in Sharia-compliant stocks. If you chose to let's say be in the market. Obviously, this is not the latest data. It's just data that I took from October last year. So you can see the top performer is Tesla. It was performing 1-year return as of October 2020 at 796%, and the price at that time was at $415. Right now, Tesla is around $600. I mean, those are businesses that are disturbers basically in what they do. They are the first ones that started the electronic vehicle business, which everybody is now copying and following. They've done a lot of work with technology, with enhancements in independent driving cars and whatnot. So people are really keen on this stock and going for it because the potential is humongous for growth in the future. You have the advanced micro devices, which are chip makers. Again, technology, chip making, which is something crucial for everything that is being done in AI, everything that's been done in electronic vehicles. So obviously these businesses are gonna thrive in the next, the next years to come because of what we're doing on the technology space. Again, you will see the JD.com, for example, which is an e-commerce platform for you to buy goods. We are very much the past year have been accustomed, if we were not to buy online our products because of the Corona outbreak. We cannot go shopping like before. So we were all started to buy much more online, and this trend will continue, and it's been going on for a long time now, for the past 10 years. It's just accelerated. So again, you will see the shipment companies like UPS, FedEx in the top 20 here that are also well performing because of what's happening, that we are actually buying all our goods online. So then it has to be shipped. So obviously these companies are also doing much better. So you have also the gaming companies like Activision Blizzard. More and more people like to play games at home. And it's a trend that is very much, very hot right now with especially teenagers and whatnot worldwide. So just to give you a picture of what's performing and what's happening in the stock market, especially on the US front. This is the UAE Sharia compliant universe. You will see the Islamic banks. You will see the Amar, the Aldar, many other companies like Itzalat, Du, Aramex, all in the Sharia compliant space for you to trade in the UAE. Now the Saudi Sharia universe, you're going to see also the same Islamic banks, some Takaful insurance, Islamic insurance that are there, oil companies, Saudi Aramco is there. And again, now for the US, just to give you an idea, we talked about it a bit before. There's over 1,200 US Sharia compliant shares available. You have the the FedEx, the P&G, Nike, 3M, Microsoft, Facebook are there. We have many shares that are comprised in the Sharia compliant universe for US. It's very important to know that we screen these companies on a quarterly basis, and we update every quarter. Some of them fall out, some of them come back in as we revise every 3 months our Sharia list. Now, as I touched upon before as well, us at ADIB Securities, we cover the UAE market, the Saudi market, and the US. Important to know that the US especially, we know that the UAE trading hours are from 10 to 2 p.m. And the Saudi one is from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. UAE time. And for the US, it's important to know that the trading hours are different. It's with daylight saving time, it's from 5:30 p.m. to 12 a.m. UAE time. Without daylight saving, it's from 6:30 p.m. to 1 a.m. UAE time. Now, I'd like to touch upon as well the fees for UAE is very standard with all the brokers. It's 27.5 basis points to trade the DFM, and the fees for Saudi are similar. Okay, 27.5 basis points on every trade, buy and sell. Now, this is the one that you might want to know more about, is the US brokerage fees when you buy stocks. The minimum per trade varies from broker to broker. It could be between $25 to $50, for example, a minimum per trade. So you're always going to have a minimum per trade, and then it's 3 cents per share. So, for example, if you trade 10,000 shares at 3 cents, your cost would be $300. So you'll pay $300. If you trade only 1 share, the minimum will be applied. So whichever minimum will be applied at any broker will be either, let's say it's $25, then you'll pay $25 minimum. Now, ADIB Securities is a subsidiary of ADIB. established in 2005, and its headquarters in Abu Dhabi. Just to touch upon a bit what we do and how we can maybe help you. We do have a dedicated team in every market to assist you. In US timing, we have a dedicated team as well, and actual US trading hours. We are specialized in Sharia-compliant brokerage services, and especially stocks. We are the #1 Sharia-compliant UAE broker, and one of the most recognized actually worldwide. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact us or to get in touch with us. Please visit our website, adibsecurities.ae. Thank you everyone for being with us in this webinar. I'm sure you have a lot of questions now. We will move along to the Q&A session where you could ask your questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Hassan. Thank you, Zainab. Thank you so much for such an informative presentation. It's actually been very detailed, if I may say. But now we're going to move on to the questions and answers section of this webinar, where basically we have a question here from LS. He's saying, how can I get started on buying stocks?
Thank you, Ahmed. Actually, in order to start your trading account in ADIB Securities, you are more than welcome to visit us in person to any of our branches in Abu Dhabi or Dubai or Alliance, along with your documents such as a passport, ID, family book, or residence visa. If you are a minor below 21 years old, please make sure that a legal guardian should sign your agreement. Above 21, for sure, you could start ahead, and we will assist you in all the steps of issuing the investor number, the trading number, and all your online platforms. We are always welcoming you to come to our lobby, and a diversified team will assist you to log in into your online channels and platform and have a tutor session at any time. Thank you.
Thank you, Zaina. That's actually quite amazing. So the second question we have is, where can I see all the Sharia stocks available for me to trade? I think this one is for Hassan.
Thank you. Very easy. Actually, if you want to access or to know what are the Sharia compliant stocks available to trade anytime, you can get in touch with us with simply getting in touch with the responsible person, or let's say your relationship manager, or with our customer service team. They'll be more than happy to send you the list at any time by email. This list is also updated, like we said before, every 3 months, every quarter, for example, for EU markets. Every time we update it, we actually send the list to the clients via text message for them to be aware of the new list with the inclusions and exclusions. So please, if you need to have access to this list at any time, let us know. We'll be more than happy to send it to you.
Awesome. So we have another one here. It says, do I need an ADIB account to trade in stocks in the UAE?
Actually, it's needed. It will make your life easier that your trading account will be connected to a ADIB account. We have an added value where if you buy or if you sell, let's say your money will be credited directly into your ADIB account at the same time, instantly. And this is an extra added value that not much of other brokers have it. So having a ADIB account is well needed.
But would you say it's a must to have to trade in the UAE market, Zainab? Like I have to have a bank with ADIB so I can trade in the stock market?
Actually, yeah, we need a ADIB account. We need a ADIB account to link your trading account into your bank account.
Okay, awesome, yeah. Awesome. So I have another one. What is the minimum amount required to enter the stocks with the stock with ADIB?
Sure, I'll answer this one. There's no required with ADIB Securities for you to start trading with us, but it's important to know that if you want to buy, let's say, a Facebook share is like trading around $280. So you need to have that amount of money to buy that share and cover also the brokerage cost. So there is no minimum, but depending on the shares you want to buy, you need to have that money available for you to buy that share.
So what are the requirements to start trading in NYSE with ADIB? I have a previous experience trading in DFM and ADM.
As I have mentioned earlier, to visit us in person, to sign the agreement with us, and to provide us with all the required documents.
All right, awesome. So how many times do you have to update your Sharia-compliant stock list? It's a very good question.
How many times we have to update it?
Yeah.
So we actually we do this every quarter because the financials for these companies shift or are available publicly, usually every 6 months or quarter. So this is when we were going to be able to filter them and assess their financial standing and situation. Let's say they have more debt on their statements, and then it will be shown in their financial statements, and this is how we're going to filter if they're going to be Sharia compliant or not. So it's done every quarter, and usually we do every quarter have new inclusions, new stocks that are actually added, and sometimes some of our stocks that are actually on the list sometimes get excluded. So every quarter is the answer for this.
So I think this answer, actually, even the next question you have, we had a question that says, how do you define stock being Sharia compliant? And I think you just answered that, because basically what we do, what ADIB Securities does is look at what the company trades in, and then basically every quarter, and then recommend it to traders. All right, so yes. The next question we have is there anyone available in real-time US hours to support me?
Yes,
there is someone available in US hours, so on in daylight saving times and non-daylight saving times. We have a team, we have someone available in real time to answer any questions, any queries with you until the market closes in US timing. So Perfect. There is someone available.
Perfect. That's great. How much is your entry fee and your exit fee? I think Zaina's gonna have to avoid that question now.
As Hassan mentioned, there is no minimum in order to start trading with us. So you could start with any amount you would like.
I think the question here is entry fee and exit fee is more. It's more related to funds. This is pure buying and selling your own stocks that you select. So there's a standard fee for every, like I said before, the brokerage trading, for example, there's a minimum per trade. Let's say it's between $25 to $50. Say $25 is the minimum per trade. So you buy one share, it's going to cost you $25. And then there's also a cost per share. So let's say it's 3 cents per share. So if you buy 10,000 cents, it costs you $300 for that trade. So the entry fee and exit fee is more, it's related to funds usually. On the stock trading, it's different. It's per transaction.
All right. So how can I get started? What are the first steps?
As we have mentioned earlier, you have to visit any of our branches or any of ADIB branches, and you are always welcome to call our call center in order to assist you.
All right. So what are the tools available for me to trade web, mobile, voice, evolution? Sorry, yeah.
Actually, the most popular one, the most used is the mobile and web trading tools. I mean, nowadays over 70% of our trades are actually made online through mobile devices or the web. I mean, you could also trade via voice, meaning you could call on the phone, say, identify yourself. There's a process for that. And saying, I want to buy XYZ share, and we could do that for you as well. And Evolution is actually a platform that is a bit more sophisticated. It's for professional traders. So if you request that, we can also make this available for you.
Great. So what are, what do you mean by Sharia compliant stocks? Can you elaborate more on that? Can you give more details on that?
Okay, sure. So, I mean, we've the most important, there's two ways of filtering what is Sharia compliant and what is non-Sharia compliant. The first is the qualitative criteria, and then is the quantitative. The qualitative is a very important criteria because this will either make the stock or the company Sharia or non-Sharia. It depends on their activity. So what activity does this company do? So if this company engages in usury, which means interest, which means like conventional banks, this is not going to work. It's not going to go into Sharia compliant space. If you are engaging in weaponry, pornography, gambling, all these activities are non-permissible Islamically, so it's not Sharia. It's not going to work. So this is the first layer of filtering. Then the second one is the financial one, which we also touched on as well. If the company has over 30% of its debt, that is in banks to market cap, if it's over 30%, then it's not going to also be Sharia compliant. If it has less than 30% assets, physical assets, compared to the market cap, it's not going to be Sharia compliant as well. So we have all these filtering tools. The main one is qualitative and quantitative for us to arrive to what is Sharia and what is non-Sharia.
Okay, thank you, Hassan. So what is the minimum? Oh, this is a very good question, actually. What is the minimum duration I have to hold a stock before I can sell it in the stock market?
Actually, there's no minimum or maximum. It depends on the investor's strategy. Some of the investors, they would like to trade on short term, and others on the long term. So that all depends on your strategy as an investor.
So basically, it depends on what you want to do as a trader. Like you would go in, okay, I made enough money, I need to sell it. I'm losing enough money, I need to sell it or buy it.
Yes.
So it depends on. Okay, that's great.
Correct.
Now, oh, this is a tricky one. We have are there any rules in stock trading? And if there are, what are they? I'm sure there are rules, but we just need to be familiar with.
So Warren Buffett says rule number 1, don't lose money, and rule number 2 is remember rule number 1, don't lose money. Those are the rules of stock trading. There's no other rules. So I mean, this is really us. We act as an intermediary between you and the markets. We give you accessibility. So what we have is our rules, which means we filter what is Sharia compliant stocks for you to actually engage and trade in. Now, the rest is really up to you to assess. We give you the facility to buy and to sell the stock. There's no rules really. We work with these exchanges, and the exchanges have the rules of what is within their exchange and not. And we have our rules, like I said, what is Sharia and what is not. So really, we're here to assist you and then to mentor you and tutor you if you need more help. But there's no rules such as what not to do when it comes to stock trading.
All right. Are all companies in the UAE Sharia compliant? And just to know if UAE companies need to be filtered out.
As Hassan mentioned,
absolutely,
there's a certain criteria for companies to be Sharia listed. Absolutely, not all companies in the markets are Sharia, but the ones we are trading with are actually Sharia compliant companies. So it's not all.
How do you calculate commissions?
So again, for the UAE markets and Saudi markets, it's very straightforward. It's based on the buy and on the sell that is applied to the total value. For the US markets, it's going to be a trade. Every trade you do on the buy and on the sell, there's going to be a cost to that, a minimum. So, and then there's the 3 cents per share. Let's say it's 3 cents per share, for example. So if you buy 10,000 shares, it's going to cost you $300. if you buy 1 share, then it's 3 cents, right, for 1 share. So the minimum will be applied there. So it's going to be, for example, it's $25 or $30, then it will be $25 or $30 minimum for that trade.
All right, awesome. I think we're going to have the last 2 questions. What about Bitcoins? Is Bitcoin Sharia compliant? It's a very good one.
Bitcoin is not cleared for, as a Sharia compliant product as of now, but I know for there is that is working to be listed here in the UAE, which is a Bitcoin fund, an ETF actually, and they are working on getting a Sharia compliance clearance. I don't know any coin at the moment that is Sharia compliant, so it's not at the moment.
So it's not defined yet. It's not defined yet. All right. The last question that we're gonna have is, why should I trade through ADIB Securities? There you go.
Actually, ADIB Securities is the #1 Sharia compliant brokerage in the UAE, and if we consider worldwide, we have a lot of experienced team members that would be able to assist at any time for the investors to trade smoothly and without any complications. Our state-of-art platforms are one of the best in the region. Just please visit ADIB Securities, start your trading account with us, and you'll experience that by yourself. Yeah.
There you go. All right. Thank you, Hassan. Thank you, Zainab, so much. Zainab, so much for this lovely session. But we would love talking to you. Would love to have you again very soon, inshallah, for more details and more information. I'm sure the public has so many, because I can see the list of questions just pouring in, but unfortunately we're almost out of time now. So I think it's the best part. Now we're going to move towards the raffle draw, which we basically, like we promised, we're going to have one winner with an Apple Watch during this draw session. Congrats, Charles Sultan. Congratulations to Charles Sultan. We will be in touch with you shortly to get more details from you and start arranging for prize delivery. Again, let me end the webinar now, and thank you all for joining us today. Honestly, it's been quite an informative session. We look forward to seeing you in upcoming webinars. Stay tuned and on ADIB social media channels, and you'll get to stay up to date on what's going to happen next, on what our next topic is going to be about. Thank you so much.